Have you ever noticed that no matter how hard you work, your to-do list only gets longer? I used to feel the same way, but then I developed a system that not only helps me manage my personal life, but also allows me to run a six-figure business working just half days while traveling the world. In this video, I'll share the 3 key principles of this life-changing system, so you can skyrocket your productivity, take control of your time, and live life on your own terms. The first principle you need to implement and master will help you get way more done, with more focus and with more ease. It works like this. Imagine your boss emails you about something that needs doing. So you instantly drop what you were working on and switch to the new thing. Even though they're your boss, trust me, they will thank you for not doing this, because it's such an inefficient way to work. It's inefficient because working this way means you're switching contexts all the time. And every time you switch contexts, you pay the price. One study found that when you rapidly alternate between tasks, you make more errors, and it can take double the time or even longer to accomplish the same tasks compared with doing them one after the other. So the next time your boss messages you or a client pings you to get more done, you don't just drop everything, but instead you decide ahead of time how to spend your day. In other words, you need to become proactive rather than reactive. Let me show you how I plan my day in just a few minutes. I have a list of things I need to do in my task management app, Things. And I start by asking myself, what's urgent? In my today view, any tasks I'd previously captured that have a hard deadline set to today will automatically show up. And if a task has a hard deadline of today, it is of course top priority, and I will complete it today. Seeing what's due today immediately gives me a sense of how much time I'll have for my non-urgent work too. Maybe the tasks with hard deadlines for today will take me 2 hours to complete. So I have 3 hours remaining from the realistic total of 5 productive hours I expect to have. Next, I'll have a quick look at a view called Deadlines. This view shows me the hard deadlines that are coming up beyond today. After all, I want to avoid always having to do things at the last minute. So I see that I've got a few deadlines coming up this week, and I might pick one of these tasks to work on today a few days before it's due. I'll just add that task to my today list. Reviewing my today list, I think I'll have a little bandwidth left after dealing with the tasks due today and the one due in a few days. So next I ask myself, what is important? I head to a view called Anytime, which is like the master list of tasks that are available for me to work on right now. I look at this master list and I ask, what would be great to get done today? And I add another task or two to my today list, and now I have a nice mix of urgent and important tasks. I can't complete every to-do on my master list today, of course. I'll have to choose. And it's important not to make an overly ambitious to-do list for each day, because if I can never finish my daily to-do list, I'll just disappoint myself the whole time. That's a guaranteed way to feel awful. An extra step that I like to take is to drag the tasks on my today list in the order that I'd like to work through them. That allows me to, for example, first work on the tasks that require the most focus. After I do this step, I now have a proactive plan. So the first principle of this system is to intentionally plan your day every single morning. See what's coming due, see what else is on your plate, and prioritize. This simple daily ritual takes just a few minutes, but pays off big time. By the way, you can do this with any quality to-do app. For example, another great task manager is Todoist. Todoist is particularly good at integrating with calendar apps, including with my favorite calendar app, Fantastical. I've connected Todoist with Fantastical, and that means that on my calendar in Fantastical, I can see not just today's and this week's events, but also my scheduled tasks. And that gives me a bird's eye overview of all of my commitments. Regardless of which apps you use, the key is to be proactive. Planning your day every day will put you ahead of 99% of people. If you do this, your coworkers and clients will notice and will love to work with you. And your productivity will skyrocket because you'll be working on the right things with more focus and less stress. But by now you might be thinking, this looks great, Peter, but I don't have such a beautiful master list of all of my to-dos to begin with. Let's fix that. And we'll do that using the second principle of my productivity system. This principle ensures that nothing slips through the cracks. Imagine you're sitting in a meeting and it is agreed that you will do a particular thing. Normally, you might sit through the rest of the meeting, head back to your desk, and then start on whichever task seems to be the most urgent. But if you do that, it's easy to forget about the other tasks that also got put on your plate. So here's how I solve this. When I'm in a meeting and I agree to do something, I immediately pull up Things' quick entry window. I can pull this up regardless of whatever else I might be doing on my computer, and I can use this window to quickly capture a task. I can write down the task title, and I can also note the hard deadline if there is one. I can even add a quick note to myself to remind myself of something as I work on this task later. Other apps have such a feature too. In Todoist, it's called Quick Add, but it works the same way. You pull up Quick Add with a keyboard combination, and you quickly write down the task and its deadline if there is one. So what if you're not near your computer and you think of something to do? Or if you're out and someone asks you to do something, you still want to be able to capture that task immediately. Capturing tasks should be as friction-free as possible. An easy way to do this is to add a so-called plus button to your phone's lock screen. So whenever you think of something, you just pull out your phone, tap the plus button, and write down the task. So the second principle is that you immediately capture to-dos to a task management app whenever they get assigned to you or whenever you think of them. When you do this, your task manager becomes the single source of truth for what is on your plate. And that in turn allows you to do the daily planning that will make you more proactive rather than reactive, massively increasing your productivity. But once you get into the habit of capturing your tasks, if you don't do anything else, you'll just have one big unwieldy master task list. You can review that entire list every morning when you're planning your day, but that will get tedious fast. You don't want to have to wade through all of your home gardening tasks when you're figuring out what still needs to be done to wrap up a client project at work. This is where the third and final principle comes in. Here's how it works. Think about all the different places you show up at throughout your week, and think about all the different people you engage with. Now imagine wearing a different hat for each way that you show up. You're at work, you wear your office hat. You're in the gym, you wear your workout hat. You're spending time with your kids, you're wearing your parent hat. Make a list of all of these hats that you wear throughout the week. And these are your so-called areas of responsibility. You might have something like 5 to 15 areas of responsibility. And what do you do with them? Let's take another look at my to-do app things. I've created a top-level organizational structure with one folder, as it were, for each area, for each hat. And whenever I capture a task, I assign it to the relevant area. So for example, a to-do to file my tax return goes into my admin and finances area. A to-do to make a dental cleaning appointment goes into my health area. And a to-do to buy my girlfriend a bottle of her favorite perfume goes into the relationships area. This allows me to see all related tasks at once. So the third principle is to always assign every task to one of your areas of responsibility. If you can, categorize your task as soon as you capture it. If you can't, just add it to your task manager's inbox and categorize tasks periodically. This is also why you should use a digital task manager rather than trying to keep your to-do lists in a paper journal. It might feel good to write down a to-do list on paper, but on paper it's very hard to apply and maintain any kind of structure without consistently rewriting your lists. Modern to-do apps are exceptionally good. Use them. Now you know the 3 principles of my system that will allow you to work with more focus and less stress. But there's one other habit that you absolutely must develop for this system to skyrocket your productivity. In fact, this is the most important habit of them all. Develop this habit and stick with it, and you will permanently level up your productivity. Ignore this habit and you'll keep falling off the wagon. So watch this video up here next, and I'll teach you how to develop this vital habit so you'll get truly life-changing results.